Most of this video should be review for you, except for maybe a couple of definitions. This form of a line ax plus by equals c, that is known as the standard form of a line, and it is generally understood that a, b, and c are not fractions, that they're integers instead, and that a is a positive leading coefficient, although some books disagree on whether a needs to be positive or not. Graph this equation and identify the x and y intercept. Because the equation is in standard form, it is much easier to graph by intercepts, letting x be 0 and then y be 0. When you let x equal 0, all you have left, I'm covering up the left, is y equals 4. So 0, 4 right there is the y-intercept. When you let x equal 0, you get the y-intercept. Now when we let y equal 0, covering that up, we have negative 2x equals 4. Dividing by negative 2, we get negative 2. So negative 2, 0 is the x-intercept. When we let y be 0, we get the x-intercept. Now we have 2 points on our line that we can plot, and all we have to do now is connect the dots to draw our line. I'd like to call attention to a little bit of the notation used here in the slope formula. Notice how you have m equals delta y divided by delta x. The capital triangle there, that's the capital D in the Greek alphabet. In math, that refers to a change. So we have a change in y divided by a change in x, as we have illustrated in this bubble here. Determine the slope of the line passing through these 2 points. Well, the more often you write the slope formula, the better you're going to get at memorizing it. So I suggest you start by writing it. Now, we need to take the difference of the y values. We take the second y minus the first y. So 30 minus a negative 16 in the numerator. And then in the denominator, we have 84 minus a negative 100. This is going to give us 46 over 184. These are both even, so we know we can cut in half, dividing each by 2 to get 23 over 92. And it turns out that 23 times 4 is 92, so this fraction reduces to 1/4, and the slope is 1/4. Given a line with slope m and y-intercept 0, b, the y-intercept, or let's call it the slope-intercept form of a line, is what you commonly know as y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b, or actually 0, b, is the y-intercept. Okay, the first thing we want to do is write this in slope-intercept form. We begin with 2x minus 4y equals 8, and we want to isolate the y. So we begin by subtracting the 2x off of each side, and that gives us negative 4y equals negative 2x plus 8. Then, dividing each side by negative 4, we now have y equals positive 1/2 x, because negative 2 over negative 4 is positive 1/2, minus 2. Looking at this now, we can identify the slope m to be 1/2 and the y-intercept to be 0, negative 2. Now they want us to graph this using the slope and the y-intercept. Since we have a y-intercept at negative 2, we plot that first, and from there we see our slope of 1/2, which says start at that point, rise 1, and run 2, taking us over here to 2, negative 1 in the 4th quadrant. If we want to keep rising 1 and running 2, we can do that and get more points on our graph, and that will actually help us to draw a straighter line. So there we have it, the line.